and the kids are outside on the big fields. I don't know if you have, a recess, or is this, let's say, a gym class or a free period. But it's interesting, yeah, because when I was a kid, so in elementary and in secondary school, we weren't allowed. I think, yeah, the teacher is behind the tree. We weren't allowed outside the school property. But yeah, of course we would go outside, especially, in both cases there was a store across the street, while or nearby, let's say. So a lot of time we would just go outside, especially then in secondary school. And of course, if you knew the journey, that was much easier. So the journey, I don't know what would be, how would I translate this, but in some American schools they have, a hall monitor. Basically this is the same principle, but they are also, well, the primary function for a kid when he was, basically that meant when you were in elementary school, when you were in the last 4 grades. In elementary school there were actually 2 posts, let's say. One was at the, and is tired, yawning. I don't care about what you're talking. So one was at the main entrance to the school, where there were 2 kids at the post, and there was a second post on the 3rd floor where was just one kid posted. So when you were at the post at the main entrance, so your primary mission duty was, if there were any visitors, to guide them around the school, prevent the kids going out. So basically you were locking and unlocking the gates, the doors, and also one of the kids on the post would be then a lot of time used as let's say a runner, a messenger boy or a girl. So yeah, a teacher would come outside. Hey, you go to the principal's office and tell the secretary to give you some chalk or something like that, some supplies, or carry this to the annex of the building, or to the kitchen, which was then part of our school kitchen was actually the kitchen of the kindergarten, so in a completely other building. So yeah, but usually in the elementary school that meant basically only the top students, pupils, were allowed to take this position duty, because it meant that you were absent for the whole day of the class. And this was basically, let's say, a privilege. And of course, nobody mind to have a day off. Of course, usually it meant that after your schoolmates had class, When the class was over, they came to you, brought the notes, so you transcribe them to yours, perhaps even do the homework already there, because a lot of time it was boring, especially when you were on the third floor and there most of the time nothing happened. So I remember I was practicing my karate, before when we have, exams to get, the higher belts. I would, when I was in the third floor post, I would, then just practice my katas, most likely. So yeah, and then the same thing happened also in the secondary school at gymnasium. Tocmai ham pa tempo. No pridi. Čist pridna zadevca, ti si pa tu čist pridna. So one that wants to fight, another that doesn't care. And Lisa doesn't care. So yeah. Yeah, in the secondary school there was only one post. So, 2 kids, and basically their main job was to look for, entry, exits, who will enter, who will exit. At that time I think we already had, like a sign-in sheet for the visitors, so non-school visitors. So if usually they were, like parents or I don't know, something. But yeah, and then one of your duties in both cases was also taking care. You were in charge of the cleanliness of the halls, you had to empty lockers and so forth. So yeah, so we had lockers, but in our case, in both schools, the lockers weren't individual lockers, but were, let's say, communal lockers. So usually, let's say 4 to 6 to 8 people were in one locker. It depended on, how many kids attended that year, and then they would divide, the lockers between the pupils. And of course, usually you had, let's say, let's say lockers were never assigned to you. Pretty easy. But usually, it was, yeah, this is my locker. I always put my things here. And yeah, they were never locked. Except in secondary school, in gymnasium, they were locked, but usually, no, there were, we had keys, I think. Yeah, we had keys, but because in gymnasium we had these communal lockers plus like a cubicle, like a full wardrobe cubicle, and a lot of times, because one class had one cubicle, or even two classes in one cubicle, it meant a lot of times they were, unlocked. And yeah, so one of your duties was also, and someone is going for a ride, was also to take care, supervise, or to prevent any thefts. But yeah, I remember one time when I was actually on duty and I was, away from the post, and yeah, and in gymnasium actually you couldn't see the lockers or these cubicles, because there were gates, secondary gate between your post and the lockers itself. And yeah, there was a theft of a couple of things, I think sneakers and so forth. Then the police was also called. Yeah, but now, as I can see, this, let's say, tradition has been abolished, and now they have, security guards employed. And now it's, of course, much stricter who can access or who can leave. So yeah, that's it. Okay, let's just continue. A little bit addendum. I cannot recall if there was actually then, they discovered it was actually a theft or not, because a lot of time, your shoes or jackets, or well, most likely your umbrellas went missing. And the reason it was because, sometimes, because there was so little space in these communal lockers or cubicles. The things, you put it in one corner, and then you came at the end of the day and you found all your stuff, in the opposite corner. Someone moved, or someone was upset that you put your things in one locker. They would actually dump your stuff outside, and then these, let's say, hall monitors, the journey, when they would see that, their duty was to clear this. So usually they would just shove it in the next, or the closest, or the next available locker. And so sometimes you had a fine time of, let's see where your stuff is. So yeah, but of course, a lot of times, umbrellas were, misplaced. Someone, you had different color, same color umbrellas. They took it yours by mistake, or they took it by purpose because they didn't have the umbrella and they didn't want to get wet. So yeah.